Have you always wanted to transform your body and mindset but wasn't really sure where to start or what to do? Maybe you've sat on the fence thinking about doing it for a while but felt that now wasn't the right time, or that it simply wouldn't be possible for you given your busy and hectic lifestyle. Well, if so, this video is for you, as I'm going to pull back the curtain, so to speak, and walk you through the average journey of a OneBody client, from the phases we take you through, the education we share, to the implementations we make to create such profound results, not only to your body and the way that you look, but more so your mindset and the newfound identity you form whilst working with us. Okay, so maybe you are new here, or perhaps you have in fact followed me for a while. Now, you may or may not have seen my countless life-changing client transformation results. And if you haven't already, I'd encourage you to go ahead and scroll through my feed to see the mass array of client success stories. Now, the chances are you may see those results and have equal amounts of awe and appreciation, but also pessimism. Pessimism, perhaps, over the legitimacy of such outcomes. I promise you these are all real results accomplished by very real people. But then also pessimism over the prospect of ever being able to achieve such results like that yourself. Now listen, I get it seems far-fetched to ever imagine losing all of the stored body fat that you are currently carrying and wind up looking like a Greek Adonis statue. Or perhaps it's not that you don't think that it would be possible. It's more so perhaps that you're not sure you are willing to pay the price that you believe would be required in order for you to obtain it. Nor do you believe that you would be able to sustain it on the back end, given that typically these kinds of results often require, such drastic, non-sustainable measures, or so you are led to believe. Well, today I want to squash any of those limiting beliefs and show you how each chapter of this journey actually looks, what it genuinely takes, and how you can accomplish the outcome and ultimately sustain it lifelong without living in the gym, eating chicken, rice, and broccoli, nor ever having a social life again. Now, when starting out with any of our clients, we need to establish where you are right now. Such as how much do you weigh? How much body fat are you carrying? What have you done leading up until this point? How long have you been training, if at all? What has your nutrition looked like? What have you tried in the past that worked? What didn't? Now, we work with a broad spectrum of clients at OneBody at different levels and different starting points. So to us, it really doesn't matter where you are right now. What matters is where you want to go and also how well we understand your current reality, which ultimately gives us a better understanding as to how to best help you moving forward. Then it's all about gaining crystal clear clarity about precisely what it is that you want to accomplish, the way you want to look, feel, and live your life, whilst also being clear on a super important metric: by when. You see, clarity of outcome is one thing. However, clarity of outcome without a specific time frame is merely a pipe dream. It's open-ended and it allows you to be let off the hook, as you can always start again on Monday. If you are carrying 60 extra pounds of unwanted body fat, how long are we going to take to pay off that debt? If we never put a time frame to it, chances are it isn't going to happen, or you'll simply find yourself in that perpetual diet loop, feeling as though you're always on a diet and starting again on Monday. There's more to come on that later. So for me, it is imperative that we put a huge red cross in your calendar, and perhaps even increase the stakes by having a reason to go all in, like preparing for a wedding or a holiday, or maybe even a physique photo shoot, something that really pushes you out of your comfort zone and gives you a legitimate reason to go all in. Now, you don't need these in place to do the thing. However, after coaching clients for well over a decade, I'd certainly be inclined to suggest that it helps, especially when it comes to time collapsing the process. Now, finally, in the outlay, we also need to identify your why. What is it about your current situation and your reality that you are dissatisfied with? Enough so that you are willing to commit to changing it. You see, without a strong enough why, chances are it will never mean all that much to you. The minute that things get tough and you reach a fork in the road, you'll likely choose the path of least resistance. The one that brings you immediate pleasure, like a boozy night out or a cheat meal, as opposed to the path that's hard hard in the outlay, you know, getting in that workout or peeling yourself off the sofa to go hit your step count, but ultimately brings you closer to where you want to be in the long run. You won't make that difficult decision unless your why means enough to you. And the outcome means more than a temporary short-term pleasure. The pain of staying the same typically has to be greater than the pain of change, meaning that the endeavor that you are about to embark upon, no matter how challenging or hard it is or how much effort is required, it is still better than simply existing in your current reality, dissatisfied with the way things are, not looking or feeling the way that you like to, nor living up to the potential that you know deep down you are capable of. Once we have all of that in order, we are well on our way to begin creating the unshakable vision for ourselves and then developing the unstoppable momentum towards achieving it. Now, once we have taken everything into account based on a multitude of factors from your experience level to the time frame and specificity of your goal, we will then decide which path you take and get clear about the checkpoints along the journey and the time frame of each of those. Now, starting out, let's assume you are beginning your journey from scratch. You know, you may have trained in the past or dabbled in dieting. However, right now you have no momentum nor flow. You aren't currently training and nutrition is absolutely all over the place. We will initially onboard you onto our 6-week Body Launch program. Now, Body Launch was designed to dust off the cobwebs, lay down the foundation, and begin forming new habits and start gaining momentum in the right direction towards your goals. Now, here, we don't dig into any of the complexities or fine-tuned detail of your transformation. We are simply looking to get into the swing of doing the basic things right consistently, such as making better decisions with your food, moving more, and increasing training frequency. Now, alongside this, we also start setting you up for long-term success with mindset coaching, ensuring that mentally you are in the right place to begin moving forward by becoming super self-aware, tackling your inner demons, controlling your environment, changing your narrative, and ultimately start gearing you towards unlocking the 2.0 version of you. Now, typically this program will see our clients lose a whole load of weight and body fat pretty quickly, with fitness levels also improving dramatically with only subtle, simple changes being implemented. This first 6 weeks is pretty much where every single one of my super successful long-term client transformation success stories began, and a program that I formulated way back in 2017. There's been subtle manipulations and changes made over the years. It is incredibly effective and it sets you up perfectly for the next phase of your journey. Okay, now let's assume you have the foundations in order. Your mindset is in the right place and you're starting to formulate the right habits, rituals, and routines. We also now have a very clear idea of specifically what you want to accomplish and by when, which at this stage we will decide upon and come to a mutual agreement of what we believe is achievable and attainable given your own unique set of circumstances and situation. Now, at this point, you are now in a position to somewhat lay down the hammer, so to speak, and begin digging into some of the more refined complexities of your transformation journey. You see, when it comes to accomplishing something super specific, for example, being in peak photo shoot condition by a specific date, you need incredibly specific coordinates. The fundamental basics will only ever take you so far, and plateaus inevitably will occur. Making smarter choices and being mindful is great, however, it lacks detail. Not only leaving too much up for interpretation, but it also becomes very difficult when you hit those inevitable sticking points to know specifically what to address, or better still, what to change. It's practically like throwing shit at the wall and hoping that some of it sticks. As we aim to level up, we have to dial in the detail, from the calories and macros you are consuming to the frequency of your training, the repetition of your step count, and consistency of your cardio. Now, we call this our control panel. Remember those Roma robots you used to have at school where you dial in the coordinates, put it on the floor, and it would go precisely in the classroom where you sent it to? You know, 5 meters forward, 5 meters to the right, etc. No? Just me? Anyway, the point is, you would dial in the coordinates and it would provide a very specific outcome. The same principle applies with your body. If we set in place the dials of our control panel and execute these commands consistently, we can measure the precise outcome that they provide. I.e., when you do X, Y, Z, is the scale moving in the right direction? Is the weight loss congruent with the rate of loss that we need to accomplish your specific goal by the date that we have agreed upon? And if it isn't, we can simply refer back to the control panel and make the appropriate tweaks and amends to speed up or slow down the process depending entirely upon what is appropriate for you. Now, the luxury here is that we can decide which dials to move based on what makes more sense for you. So let's say, for example, you are working a busy desk job and only have a small handful of opportunities in the day to move, i.e. to train and hit steps or do cardio. Okay, cool. Then we can tweak your nutrition dials accordingly. Or, for example, if you're working a much more flexible role that allows you to move more and you are perhaps somebody that battles with hunger if calories get too low, then okay, cool. We can tweak your expenditure dials that will allow you to expend more and therefore eat more. There are so many tweaks and amendments that we can make on our control panel, which puts us firmly in the driving seat to find the approach that works best for you and that ultimately you can stick to in the long run. Now, naturally, this does all feel very robotic, and in many ways it is. Consistency of action taking provides accurate data tracking, which is essential for understanding the outcome of our actions. However, you are not a cyborg sent back through time solely to accomplish the mission of getting absolutely jacked, ripped, and shredded. So here is our aim. We have to find your minimum effective dose. In short, what is the absolute bare minimum that you can do to still provide the outcome that you are looking for? Now, we all know what the maximum effective dose looks like. We've all watched Rocky. Now, sure, we can, chug a pint of raw eggs, hit a 5 a.m. run, scale the Philadelphia steps and punch our arms in the air. However, could you do that every single day, consistently, without fail? I'm going to suggest not. You are not David Goggins, so stop trying to convince yourself that you are or can be. You're an average Joe, a mere mortal who is simply looking to lose the belly fat, perhaps see the abs start to creep through, look good naked, and not be the dad keeping his shirt on by the side of the pool. So we have to lose the mentality of wanting it to be difficult and only feel like we're doing it if it sucks. It shouldn't suck. Far from it. It should feel relatively easy. Notice the word relatively. You are going to have to step out your comfort zone. But the point is this. You should be able to do this every single day, even on the days that you don't feel motivated to do it. It is the longevity and sustainability of the process that will allow your goals to come to fruition, not the all-out, all-guns blazing approach that you can only execute here or there when the planets align and you feel motivated. This approach simply has to become part of your non-negotiable routine, like brushing your teeth. So therefore, we look to make the most minimal of inputs that still allows us to get the output that we are looking for. Now, not only does this make it far more attainable and sustainable in the long run, but it also leaves us what we like to call tools in the toolbox. Now, as you progress through your journey, as you pay off the fat debt and continuously lose body fat, your body's requirement for calories becomes less. Naturally, the less of you there is, the less fuel you need. Think of a big fuel-guzzling SUV versus a little hatchback like all the girls used to drive at college. So with that, our approach needs to progressively change and adapt as you do, from the calories you consume to the calories that you burn. Now, given that our approach is one in which allows us to only ever have to execute our minimum effective dose, which mostly should feel super easy and attainable to execute, when our bodies adapt and our control panel setup is proving to no longer be effective, we can simply make subtle manipulations to once again move the needle and force the next adaptation to occur. Now, this part is key when it comes to taking things to a level you never imagined possible. Not only are you slowly conditioning yourself to consistently execute, and with the severity and intensity of your approach progressively increasing with time, you are also mitigating the risk of running out of tools in the toolbox. You see, if you were to start your journey all guns blazing, emptying the toolbox, so to speak, right out of the gate, with all of the possible implementations you could make, not only would you more than likely burn out long before you ever reaped the rewards of your effort due to, doing far too much too soon, but you'd wind up with nowhere to go when those inevitable plateaus occur. Your body is incredibly smart and effective at protecting itself. It doesn't really want to change. It wants to remain in a state of homeostasis, which is where things are the same. So whenever you do anything to change that, your body will quickly try to adapt to the way in which you are living in order to be back at a stable, level place again. Now, this is bad news for fat loss, as in order to peel back the layers and really take things to the next level, you have to have somewhere to go when things stagnate. With our control panel method, that rarely becomes an issue, as there is always somewhere left to go. Transformations take time, and the only way you'll reach the desired outcome is if you can sustain the effort. Now, naturally, life is life. It is going to throw curveballs and obstacles in your way non-stop throughout. It is incredibly difficult to stick to the plan full tilt with absolute adherence and conviction around the clock 24/7, 365. So therefore, our approach is to not only give you the tools to be flexible and adaptable for when those inevitable challenges arise, but also implement an approach that allows you to have some balance. Like, let's be frank, who wants to eat the same bland, mundane food day in, day out with nothing to look forward to at a weekend? Nor have the ability to work in the odd treats you enjoy, or perhaps the occasional drink here or there. Now, typically, midweek, most of us lead busy and hectic lives and are therefore grateful for structure and routine. You have an endless list of decisions to make and things to think about or worry about. Therefore, it's great to be able to let go of the reins and mindlessly follow the plan and not have to concern yourself about any of it. However, when it comes to the weekend, typically that's where things start to go wrong. All of a sudden, there's no structure or routine. You're ready for a break, and you often find yourself socializing, spending more time with friends and family. And oftentimes, this brings about the incidence of off-plan food and booze. It's untracked, unplanned, and this, for the most part, sees people taking one step forward and a subsequent 2 steps back. So wouldn't it be great if there was an approach that existed that allowed you to have a little more flexibility and freedom to allow for those occasions without the guilt nor the unwanted, undesired repercussions when stepping on the scales come Monday morning? Well, I'm pleased to say there is a world where that exists, and that is more than possible. One of the best approaches we have found for most of our clients is calorie and carb cycling, which is incredibly effective and makes the plan far more sustainable and realistic in the long run. I would go as far to say that for many, this has been the holy grail of long-term fat loss success. Now, this is merely one approach from an endless array of methods that we practice, from intermittent fasting to diet breaks and many, many more, all of which we implement accordingly based on your own unique set of circumstances and needs. We do not believe in a one-size-fits-all approach. Now, I'll cut right to the chase here. There is so much more I could discuss about how we get you to your very own personal mountaintop and accomplish the physique of your dreams. However, the question on most people's minds is, once I get there, once I pay off the fat debt and accomplish the outcome, how do I sustain it lifelong? Well, it's an important question, as getting there is one thing, sustaining it, however, is another thing entirely. Now, without digging into the methodology or approach of maintaining balance, the key aspect of sustaining the outcome comes down to identity. How you identify yourself is the single most important factor in keeping up with your newfound lifestyle. You see, starting out on this journey, you possibly identified yourself as lazy, unmotivated, or unable. You sold yourself the lie that you were those things and convinced yourself of those statements through repetition by not keeping the promises you made to yourself. You'd say you was going to do something and you wouldn't do it. You eroded your self-confidence through continually lacking integrity and discipline. However, once you have done the thing and you've kept those promises, you've taken action and you've followed through with conviction, you must now hold yourself to those high standards by executing your non-negotiables come what may. Now let's be clear, those non-negotiables are pretty simple. It's hitting that workout, staying on top of meal planning or preparation, getting in that step count, or executing the cardio. The 2.0 version of you must now simply do those things out of habit and routine. Now, also at this stage, you will have identified the type of environment that allows you to succeed, the kind of people that you need to avoid or surround yourself with. You will have formulated a world that allows you to be your best self. And the key is to ensure that you stay in that world and not be dragged back into the old one, surrounded by those that kept you stuck in the past. It's like the old crabs in the bucket analogy. The minute one crab tries to leave the bucket, the rest of the crabs will reach up and drag it right back down. To sustain the outcome, it's not only about the things that you do, but the way that you live, how you socialize, the habits you have, and most importantly, the value you hold over the world and environment that you have now created for yourself. There will have been so much resistance along the way on this journey. People will have tried to hold you back, and at times, it will have felt as if the world has conspired against you to see you fail or fall short. However, with the right team behind you and like-minded community, it becomes far simpler and far more likely that you'll continue living, looking, and performing the way you always knew you were capable of. Now, by all means, you could, of course, embark upon this endeavor yourself. However, having a co-pilot by your side to help you navigate takeoff, cruise at altitude, and safely land at your desired destination would certainly help. If you would be interested in embarking upon your own life-changing endeavor and working with me and my team at OneBody, please hit the link in my description. We will have a talk about where you are at, the vision you have for yourself, and help you develop your very own blueprint and framework to accomplishing lifelong transformation success. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.